Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Youssef, and I'm here with my co-host Adam.
What's up, guys? Smash that subscribe button, youtube.com, Barca Breakdown, Spotify, Barca Breakdown, iTunes, Barca Breakdown. Hit that subscribe button because we're trying to increase our performances this year, just like Barca is, right? With some rather surprising little treats sprinkled on to the team by Laporta and Alemany late into the night, including Adama, Traore, and Aubameyang. Pretty sure he's coming too. So why don't you go ahead, give us the rundown. I know some of this is going to cover some things that happened, in like basically December, and some of it's going to be more recent. But let's go through it, Yus.
Sure. I mean, this is the end of the winter transfer window, right? And we were having some trouble getting rid of, a so-called player, Ousmane Dembele. But, despite of that, even though he's not leaving, we see the loan signing of Adama Traore, who's a right winger who may be able to take that place if Dembele's not going to be able to be played or they won't play him. And he's coming from the Wolves. And then we also got Aubameyang as coming from Arsenal as a striker. And we've talked about how many times we need that. And then lastly, of course, we had Ferran Torres come from Man City. So we made some big moves coming in this winter transfer window.
We definitely did. And going out, right, we have Iñaki Peña going to Galatasaray in Turkey on a loan. Get him some more playing time, which I think is great. And then we had, Philippe Coutinho, as we all know, go back, hang out with his buddy Gerrard at Aston Villa. And then we had, some... I guess it wasn't really him leaving, but Umtiti did bite the bullet, deferred some of his payment, gave us an easier option to help sign Torres back in December, and as well, he almost left to Arsenal. So it looked like, today the news came out that Umtiti almost went to Arsenal, but of course got injured and is staying with the club. And I think the one glaring thing we did not get, which we've been talking about so much, is a left back, right? Especially with the news that Balde has some sort of contusion on his ankle and might be out for an undisclosed amount of time. We didn't shore up the Jordi Alba position, didn't get someone to come there. And then as well with Gerard Pique, a little bit old, with Umtiti never being healthy, with Eric Garcia having some issues this season with injuries. I also think a center back could have been good, although it looks like we will see my boy Lenglet get some play time as we go into the second half of the season. So overall, I think the main thing we have to think about, right, is we get Torres. He is a versatile winger striker, can kind of play either of those positions depending on who Barca need, and that was going to be the guy to shore up our front three, right? We had Depay, we had Braithwaite, we had Fati, we had Dembele, and so everything looked good. And then we figure out Dembele is going to be a poor sport, a child, right? Him and his agent really want a lot of money we can't pay, so maybe we put him on the bench, maybe we have him only as a sub. We're not going to invest a lot of time, I don't think Xavi is, in building him for the next 6 months, and we know he's on his way out. And then, of course, Ansu Fati gets injured. And that, I think, is why we bring in Traore and Aubameyang. I mean, with Aubameyang, he is a very quick striker, which is something we don't have that profile of besides Braithwaite. And then with Traore, we always say we need more wings. We see Abde, especially in the last 2 or 3 weeks here, he has just the same dribble mindset that gets a little bit predictable for defenses. And so we've shorn up, a lot on the offensive side, which is really important. Defensive side, I'm a little bit worried about. But overall, if I had to give this transfer window a grade, I think I would give it probably a B+, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think that's fair because a lot of these things these players coming into us are coming on loan, right? And we're having the big money trouble, and we can't get Ousmane Dembele during this winter transfer window, which means he'll probably go in the summer for free, and we're not going to make any money off that, really, right? So I think it's that's a fair grade. I don't know. I would say it's somewhere in the B range, high B range, because especially I think it's good that we're bringing in some attacking front, because I know, and I've said many times, we have trouble goal scoring, and these players that are coming over are also all from the Premier League, it seems, right? Arsenal, Man City, Wolves, and so maybe that'll bring us a bigger spark that we need, because the PL can get pretty heated sometimes with a lot of these crazy goals. So I'm hoping that kind of transfers over to the Spanish division. But
one thing to consider, right, is that Traore is a La Masia talent, right? He spent a lot of time here, and so he will be quick to adapt to our play style. I have no doubt about that. And Aubameyang had some experience with Dembele, right, in Dortmund, that, he was pretty prolific, as was Dembele. I think A B plus might be too low, to be honest. Ferran Torres alone in a winter when you're struggling with money is a pretty big get. I think Traore and Aubameyang are really going to be the ones that tip this winter transfer window and how they perform, because they're both, honestly, at the peak of what they can do, very good players, right? Traore is extremely fast. He has a great ability to dribble. He's also got that, just jacked body, which helps kind of push away some defenders. And we talk a lot about how, some of our players are a little bit weak. So it's good to have that, attacking profile on our team. But he's a little bit unpolished, right? It's part of the reason why he left in the first places. Traore doesn't have everything clicking at one time. And so, he's not going to put out the most assists and goals, which is something we need a lot of. But at his height, at him playing at his best, he can. And then Aubameyang can be a really prolific goal scorer and has had a great time at Dortmund, had a very good time at the beginning of his time at Arsenal. However, he is a little bit of an issue, right? Same as Dembele, where all of a sudden this season, Aubameyang has had a few more issues with tardiness. He might have been kicked off of his African nation team at the AFCON because of getting drunk, although that's entirely a rumor. But it does seem like somehow very quickly the relationship between Aubameyang and the Arsenal board got soured. So, we have some rubies in the rough, I might say, right? We have some players who can really turn out to perform well and show up in these big games. Atletico Madrid coming up this Sunday, the Europa League tie against Napoli. So there is a possibility for this to be a straight-on A. It's just so far, I want to kind of couch our expectations and understand that, hey, our goal right now is top 4. And strengthening our attack is really going to help us. And, getting rid of Coutinho, who didn't fit, got us a lot of money that let us sign Torres.
Sure.
But what do you think about my issues in terms of no left back and no center back?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I think that is where it brings down the grade for me, to be honest. Like, the Barcelona board has to know that Jordi Alba can't sustain, this position, playing every game 90 minutes without anybody to sub him out. If he gets injured, and it's happened before, we're really in the rough there. We don't have too many people that can cover that, and if we do, we put in someone who's not familiar with the position. That's never very good. And then on top of that, I know the attacking front is important, but I think if we can't get the ball forward, that attacking front is going to be less what's the word? Effective. It would be less effective, right? We can't move the ball forward, so really having these great players that can score goals wouldn't be so great if they can't get the ball there. So we really need our center backs, our midfields to be able to push that ball forward, especially our wings. And I think, Traore, I believe, is a right winger, and as well as Ferran Torres can play on the right side. If we can move the ball in that direction and move forward, and even if Jordi Alba's weak, we still have that right side. I still think it can work out pretty well. But
you think about right, the players that have hurt us the most in the last season and a half. You think about Mbappe, first leg PSG Barca, right, in the Champions League last season, and then you think about Vinicius Jr. In the most recent Clasico, and a lot of that defense on that side will start with having a potent threat on that right wing. And now we have Traore, who's so fast, and we have Ferran Torres, who's very skilled, also quick. And so I do feel a lot better about shoring up what is, a weakness of ours is kind of getting overloaded by the wingers of the opposing teams. Because if we're able to keep the pressure and break on a counter, that's going to really help us. And I feel like, we haven't had that speed and quickness there, especially because we've had so many injuries, right? We haven't had Fati, we haven't had Braithwaite, and so now we've given ourselves a lot of options. So it's almost a hedge against how bad our physio team is, right? In that, like, okay, now we can have, God forbid, we don't want anyone injured, but if someone in that forward line goes down, it's like, okay, we got the next man up, and we don't have to feel worried about that. Whereas for the, as much as I love Abde, as much as I love Jutgla, I really don't think that they're the players we need to be playing in a top 4 race or against Napoli in the Europa League. Nothing against them. They're just very young and very raw and unpolished, right? And so at least we're getting some players, like you said, right? Adama Traore has been in the Premier League at Wolves, right? We have Torres, who was at Man City, Aubameyang, who was at Dortmund and Arsenal. We've had some players who've definitely played in Champions League games and who aren't going to be scared of the moment. And that's what we need, because you have Nico, you have Gavi, you have some players who are younger, right, and don't have that same experience in these big matches. And so if we're able to combine what is that youthful core that Xavi's been building with some experienced strikers and wingers, I think it's going to really pay dividends as the season goes on.
That also goes to speak about Xavi utilizing these substitutes correctly and, changing people out when it needs to be, right? I think that's one thing we talked about was not subbing early enough in those last few games. Having a sub at the 70th minute when we're down or we're tied and we need a goal is not the best strategy, especially when these players are looking tired. So I think with this lineup coming in, it'd be a great time to sub in players, try up new lineups, and get the ball in. He just has to take that initiative. And I think he obviously has and can recognize talent. He's played so many of these young players and done pretty well with some of these, not counting when we don't have Fati and who am I missing? Somebody else. Oh, Pedri, of course. And we still did pretty well. I mean, there was, when I say pretty well, I mean with the young squad that we had at the time. But yeah, I mean, this is something that I can see working out really well. And I really hope coming in, we have 2 weeks off. We're coming into Atletico Madrid, right? It's
Sunday,
a big game.
Big game, man. Biggest game of the season, as we say, anytime we play a team from Madrid or in European soccer. I think, yeah, it's given us that breath of fresh air on the attacking side. I do know for a fact, right? Probably within the next 3 weeks, we're going to be saying, our defense really can't keep up. Jordi Alba had a stinker, right? And so we're going to still be frustrated about that. But at the same time, with clearly Laporta gearing up for a big purchase in the summer, probably trying to get Haaland. We got some very cheap options here. Aubameyang, I think, took a massive pay cut to be with Barca compared to Arsenal. And so, we put ourselves in the best position we can, knowing our situation in terms of money. And I think that's the thing that Alemany, Laporta are getting a lot of due credit for, right? And we should too, because we have been critical at times of them. But they're getting a lot of credit for adjusting our wages to make openings for these type of players. And that's what we want, right? We want a shot to be in the Champions League next year. It is so critical that we get that money next year, and I hope these players are going to help us get us there. So with that, please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate your guys' support. We probably got a pre-match video going for Atletico Madrid. It should be coming up here around Friday, Saturday, and then we'll see you guys after the game. Thank you.
Let's go. Thanks, guys.